African American Heritage Festival. We're gonna see what's all to this. If this really about the heritage of the African American or something else. You know what I'm saying? We're gonna see what's to this. It's supposed to be about African American heritage, right? But already they creeping in everybody else and say, no room in our hearts for prejudice. So that means all are welcome here, because we not prejudiced. And then look at this right here. It went from African American heritage to Race Unity Day. Something to that, man. We gonna ask some of these questions out here and how people feel about it's supposed to be about African American heritage, and why we can't just make it about us. Why we always gotta group or incorporate other races. Why this gotta be a moniker? If this is about African Americans, why are we even talking about prejudice? Just saying. God damn.
All right, Shalom, Lord in Christ. This is the Israelite School of Universal and Practical Knowledge under Commander General Yohana. Since 1969, we have been educating brothers and sisters, blacks, Hispanics, and Native Americans about the truth about the Bible. I'm gonna go ahead and play a quick video and get a pen, a pad, a drink, whatever you need, and I'll be right back with you.
The mission of Operation Epic Fury is laser focused.
America just put out a statement that if you're an American in the Middle East, you need to leave now, ASAP.
If this situation, Epic Fury, was many months in the planning, as Secretary Hegseth says, why no plan to get our people out of the region? As many as 1 million Americans living in the Middle East given no escape window.
I'm the girl that decided to spend her 30th birthday in Dubai. And I'm coming on here very humbly, asking my president to just seize it. I'm an American taxpaying citizen. And I've now been stuck over here since the 24th.
If you are calling about the crisis in the Middle East, please press 1. If not, press 2. Please do not rely on the U.S. government for assisted departure or evacuation at this time. There are currently no United States evacuation points.
They are toast, and they know it.
All right, so I am back with y'all. Please give me a 1 in the chat if you're able to hear what's going on. Let me know. We're going to start tonight's class off by introducing the title. And as a matter of fact,
Mexico will request criminal charges.
1 second, Salakia. Let me just make sure I'm sending a video to myself to make sure I can play it for y'all from one of General Muhammad's classes. All right. So what we like to do and what we love to do is what the Lord told us, and that's to teach blacks, Hispanics, and Native Americans the truth about the Bible. And tonight's class, the title is, Yes, You Are a Hypocrite. And primarily, when I'm speaking about the hypocrite, I am talking about the oppressor that is over us, who rules over us one way and acts another and gives himself a pass whenever they do something. But when we do something, it's a little bit different. And I'm not even speaking about breaking the law. All right. So General Muhammad had done a class, right? And before I get into the exact class, I just want to, give you the definition of what a hypocrite actually is, because the word hypocrite is in the Bible. No, I got it. The word hypocrite is in the Bible, but the dictionary in layman's terms is a hypocrite is a person who preaches morals, beliefs, or virtues that they do not actually practice. We can name some people that are over us that are hypocrites, but primarily if we think about hypocrites, we will be talking about politicians. We will be talking about people in the political office as a whole. They're hypocrites. They want us to live one way or they tell us to live one way and they run a campaign one way. But what they actually do is live a completely opposite way than the way they say. They say they want law-abiding citizens, but their son smokes crack in the White House after they sent many of blacks, Hispanics to jail for smoking crack. The same cocaine that they put in our neighborhoods, the same crack that they put in our neighborhoods, they gave us time for. But some way, somehow, crack ended up in the White House. And nobody paid for it because they're hypocrites. All right. Let me go ahead and get the first video that I want to share. Give me 1 second. All right. And this is General Muhammad's class. And what he's speaking about is how maggots were found inside of the food at the ICE centers. And for some, that's a terrible thing. For some, we know that that is not something that should be happening. We know that it is not only disgusting, but it's something that shouldn't happen at all. Let me see. What is this? All right. We got rid of that. I don't know what that was. Salakia. But let's play it.
There is maggots in the food that in ICE facilities in New Jersey. They're eating maggot-laden food. You know why? Because fresh food costs money. Because fresh meat costs money. So they're giving them food with maggots in it because it's cheaper. There is maggots.
I'm gonna let it play one more time.
That in ICE facilities in New Jersey. They're eating maggot-laden food. You know why? Because fresh food costs money. Because fresh meat costs money. So they're giving them food with maggots in it because it's cheaper. There is maggots.
All right. So there are maggots in the food, right? There are things that are happening at the ICE facility that are not supposed to be happening. There are laws in America that are supposed to protect detainees and people from cruel and unusual punishment, right? The country preaches law and order, get tough on crime, but there are people that are frolicking around till this day that were mentioned in the Epstein files. They have not been detained. They don't have to eat maggots. But I want to read some of the comments that were being said under this. And when I go to it, I want you guys to understand the plight that our people have in this place, because we are under judges and we are under an oppressive people that are hypocrites. And that's all it is to it. And the reason why you wouldn't be able to tell me any difference is because the proof is right before our eyes, and it happens every single time. All right. So after finding out that there were maggots in the food, and Commanding Salakia, General Muhammad did a class on it and brought it out. There's people on the internet that have decided to double down on the cruel punishment and treatment that the Hispanic brothers and sisters do not deserve. Mainly, they're targeting Hispanic brothers, Mexicans, and other brothers from, South America that are being detained for being quote unquote illegals. And Salakia, young man, you had a question? All right, I appreciate that, young man. Okay, so reading through the comments, you would think somebody would hear this and go, okay, they came over here, they're saying they're illegal, which is not a crime. It's actually I believe it's a civil penalty or a civil offense. And you have oppressors on the internet saying things like maggots are a source of protein. Remember that one day it might be useful. And then it says, other comments are, and where can I buy this cheaper food with maggots in it? I haven't seen it. I haven't seen a flyer. So it's a joke to them. For our people to suffer this under these hypocrites, it's a joke to them. I'm going to play the next video. Bear with me for 1 second. And then I'm going to get into how people are hypocrites and why this is so hypocritical. All right.
Died in ICE custody. Khan, Mexico will request criminal charges over 17 Mexicans who died in ICE custody.
Died where?
In ICE custody.
Died where?
In ICE custody.
If you're taken into an ICE facility, they don't have doctors. One Mexican died because of an asthma attack.
Goodness.
An asthma attack. Do you know what saves your life in an asthma attack? A Primatene mist pump.
Yeah.
You know what that means, Hans? Yeah. ICE does not have Primatene mist pumps.
Khan.
Let's read some of the comments from the oppressor who gets to rule over the world. And this is why the cruel and the unjust shouldn't rule over the world. Kevin Monk, an oppressor, a dirty, stinking devil, had the nerves to say, one second, let me pause it because I'm reading from the actual comments from my phone so I can actually see it. Don't break, Salakia, would they still be alive if they stayed in Mexico? Perhaps. Mangus Bay, don't break the law and you won't get locked in those areas. Let me help y'all out. Let me help y'all out. And this article I'm going to share, this is AP News' article. All right. Let me show y'all something. How the oppressor breaks the laws in a completely different way. Mind you, our brothers, the Mexicans, are actually, and bear with me, are we having a problem with this? Give me 1 second. Salakia. All right, no sweat. Our brothers are over here because their country was destabilized, right? Their country was destabilized. Not because this is just the land of the free and the home of the brave and the red, white, and blue is bold and every other country wants to live over here. A lot of people come over here because our nation, the United States that we live in, has destabilized their countries. All right. Do you remember on January 6th when people came into the Capitol and had to be shot and officers died and officers had to unalive themselves from all the stress? Let's read this. Man who wore horns at U.S. Capitol to get organic food in jail. Not only is he getting jail food without maggots in it, he complained and said it was cruel and unusual that he didn't have organic food, and a judge awarded him with that. Is that not hypocritical? With the same people who say about our people, they shouldn't have come over here. With the same people who say about our people that they deserve it, that maggots are a good source of protein, why weren't they so critical of what this man did on January 6th? Was a federal crime what they did when they went over to the Capitol building. They were rightly processed, but they were freed. But before they were freed, a lot of them were treated better than somebody who had a alleged civil penalty that the nation believes that they committed. All right. And for those brothers and sisters who agree with this type of treatment, you're out of your mind and you follow an oppressor that is so hypocritical that our people die because of it. The oppressor can see their plight, but they can't see ours. Young man, if you could, can you get me, let me see. Let me get Proverbs 21 and 23. I want to read something, right? Proverbs 21 and 23. If you could, Baba Gashan. I'm gonna pull up no sweat. You got it right now? All right, no sweat. Let's read it, and then we'll get to what I want to get to.
Connor walk on. 23 and 23 and what?
Salahi, it said you had it. Proverbs 21 and 23. All right.
Con.
Because hold on, wait. Before you get that, I want to read something. Give me 1 second. What's going on with the oppressors, with the hypocrisy, is something that belongs in a movie. It's almost like a sitcom where they say one thing, the screen flips, and they're like, and nobody can do anything about it. Nobody. Let me get that verse for y'all that I needed. All right. This is Matthew 23 and 33. All right. Let me get it real quick. All right. Because mainly, this class is talking about those hypocrites that are oppressors. All right. But I want to read about the oppressors that are of our people. All right, so this is Matthew 23 and verse 33. And bear with me to get there really quick. All right, the book of Matthew, chapter 23 and verse 33. Salakia, ye serpents, ye generations of Salakia. Did I have the right one? Bear with me for one moment. Salakia, y'all. I believe I went to the wrong one. Hypocrites, KJV. Give me 1 second. All right, it's actually 13. Salakia, forgive me, y'all. All right, the book of Matthew, chapter 23 and verse 13. But woe, so destruction unto you, scribes and Pharisees, hypocrites, for ye shut up the kingdom of heaven against men. For ye neither go in yourselves, neither suffer ye them that are entering to go in. One of the things that the Christian church does is they don't actually speak out against what is happening to our brothers and sisters, whether it be your run-of-the-mill case with a black man that's being terrorized by the police and he's absolutely innocent, whether it be one of the brothers that are locked in those concentration camps that are our Mexican brothers. The Christian church isn't speaking against it. They are hypocrites. They are the type that will placate to the oppressor for money, but they're shutting up the kingdom of heaven because somebody is seeing this and saying, is this what Christianity is about? The Bible? And they encompass it and they go, the Bible, God, Christianity, Jesus, and they lump it all into one thing because of these hypocrites, and it shuts up the kingdom of heaven. It stops faith. It stops the knowledge of God because people of us are being hypocrites. All right. Moving on. Let me get young man, hold that verse for me. I want to read something real quick. All right. A lot of the times when you have countries that are going through stuff and they are a third world country, or they are the Haitians, they are the Mexicans, the oppressor calls it a S-hole country. But when France is going through something, they say, pray for France. When Ukraine is going through something, they say, pray for Ukraine. When Ukraine was going through the very first parts of the war, when Vladimir Putin went over there, the oppressor was hypocritical enough to say, and right in our faces, was hypocritical enough to say that this should not be happening because this is a European country. It's not a third world country. That's what they were hypocritical enough to say. But I want to get to another thing. Bear with me for one moment. All right, let me go ahead and share this with y'all. And I want to show you these things that we're seeing. All right, bear with me for 1 second. All right. I want to share this video with y'all. All right, let me make sure it's off mute. Y'all remember Chud the Builder, right? Let's go ahead and play what's happening. And excuse, there's some zestiness going on when the podcast that's doing this. So, Salakia.
Pussy ass fuck. He talks a lot of shit on the news.
For months, he was going around calling black people from different hoods to their face, all this type of stuff, and blacks wasn't doing nothing.
I don't know what you were talking about, because if you took a stroll in my hood from New York, Southside Jamaica, he would have got popped real quick. You would have just said, pop.
This individual by the name of Chud the Builder. Have you guys heard of Chud the Builder?
Who the fuck is Chud the Builder?
Chud the Builder. There's a white male conservative who was going around in the streets approaching black people and saying nigger and monkey. I'm going to say this again. The media has portrayed black people to be some thugs, and the truth is black.
All right. Just this part, right? People are hypocritical because our words do have consequences no matter what. There's a such thing that they've enacted on social media platforms called hate speech. And some people will say, well, a word shouldn't cause you to do anything. A word shouldn't cause harm to come to certain people. Words do cause actions. That's a hypocritical comment, because just because it's happening to black people doesn't mean it should go unwarranted. Ace, can you go ahead and read that for me? Because our consequences do have, or Salaki, our words do have consequences. You should watch your filthy mouth, especially Chud the Builder. You should watch your mouth. Let's read.
22 and 23, correct?
The book of Proverbs, chapter 21 and verse 23.
Go on, walk on. The book of Proverbs, chapter 21, verse 23. Whoso keepeth his mouth and his tongue keepeth his soul from troubles.
Whoso keepeth his mouth and his tongue keepeth his soul from troubles. Isn't Chud the Builder in trouble right now?
Con.
Didn't Chud the Builder think that he could go around and talk trash about blacks, Hispanics, and Native Americans? And I think he mainly had a beef with blacks. I know for sure he had to have a beef with our Mexican brothers and sisters. And if you asked him, was it fair enough for the North American, was it fair what happened to the North American Indian? His response would be what I see most oppressors say. They were conquered, and he would chalk it up and say it's a skill issue, that the North American Indian didn't have enough skill to survive the devil in those wars, when really that's a lie. All right, read that one more time from the top.
I don't know what on. Verse 23. Whoso keepeth his mouth and his tongue keepeth his soul from troubles.
I need brothers and sisters to remember that, because we can't be like the oppressor. We can't speak one thing and say we want peace, we want joy on earth, we want a civilized society, and then go into society with a gun and then yell hate speech to people, calling them slurs, and then shoot them when you get a reaction. Wouldn't that be hypocritical? Don't you think? But people will just try to say and chalk it up to, oh, it's just a meaningless word. That's what they'll say. But if you call the Jewish man something out of his name, oh man, you're gonna have hell to pay. They're going to show you the thousands of shoes that are at the museum of the people that they say burned in those furnaces. If that happens, they're going to say that saying hate speech against this, that, and the fourth is going to cause more hate speech and going to cause harm to the people that you're speaking about. They'll say it about the homosexual. But when it comes to us, a lot of people don't have that same sentiment because they're hypocrites. All right. And the Lord feels differently about words. Let me go ahead and get that right. In 2 Kings 23 and 24. All right. There was a prophet, and there were some children that said some absolutely disrespectful things about the prophet, right? And let me go ahead and read it. This is the book of 2 Kings, chapter 2, verse 23. And he went up, Salakia. Matter of fact, let me see. Let me go to verse 22 real quick. Bear with me for one moment. All right. All right. This is the book of 2 Kings, chapter 2, and we're going to start at verse 22. So the waters were healed unto this day, according to the saying of Elisha, which he spake. And he went up from thence unto Bethel. And as he was going up by the way, there came forth little children out of the city and mocked him and said unto him, Go up, thou bald head, go up, thou bald head. And he turned back and looked on them and he cursed them. They said words to him. They called him bald head. They disrespected him. And I know this is another point of the hypocrisy that I just wanted to touch that kind of branches off. But this part of it, I just want us as blacks, Hispanics, and Native Americans to have a little bit more care with how we talk to each other. And I want to express this during this scripture breakdown. I know the class is called, Yes, You Are a Hypocrite, and it's talking about hypocrisy. But I want blacks and Hispanics and Native Americans to know when you're talking to the 12 tribes, when you're talking to us, your people, have a little care with what you say. Watch your mouth. Preserve your soul. All right. And he turned back and looked on them and cursed them in the name of the Lord. And there came forth 2 she-bears out of the wood, and tear 42 children of them. Salakia. There is a lot of these brothers and sisters that want to have these pop-up things where they show up and they're jumping on top of cars and you're disrespecting, you know, the places that you're around, this, that, and the fourth. Watch your mouth and watch your actions. Don't think you can tear up the city and be like the oppressor, because not only are they going to talk bad about you and be hypocrites, because they do it in Philly when the Flyers win anything. They do it when the Eagles win. But when you do it, there's hypocrisy. You got to watch your mouth and you got to watch your actions, because the Lord might have you torn to bits like these children. All right. Let me, Salaki, let me read that one more time. And he turned back and he looked on them and cursed them in the name of the Lord. And there came forth 2 she-bears out of the wood, and tear 42 children of them. Why do you think the Lord, and young man, this is a question for you. Why do you think the Lord rewarded those children with such a harsh sentence?
Because like that man was one of our people, and then those kids just disrespected him in the worst ways possible.
Right.
In terms of speech.
So, and I believe that was Alicia. And what I want brothers and sisters to remember is this: we are not the oppressor. We can't be hypocrites. And for those of us that are in here, right, in the ISUBK, our light has to shine. We can't do the things that we did in the world and chalk it up to, well, the oppressor does it, or they owe me anyway. We have to be honest, and the Lord take care of the rest. We can't be like the Sadducees, the Pharisees, and the scribes. We cannot be hypocritical like the people that rule over us. We can't do it, because the Lord requires more out of us, Blacks, Hispanics, and Native Americans, but especially brothers and sisters who have taken an oath to the Most High, especially those. Ace, let me get Proverbs chapter 17, starting at verse 27, right? And even though the prophet Elisha cursed those children, and some people might not understand that, but the scriptures tell you to watch your mouth. And I remember Azal Ward did a class about this. And it woke up something in my brain, and I was able to speak and intellectualize and to explain how we should watch our mouths. You got that for me? It's Proverbs 17 and 27.
Okay.
All right, go ahead and read it if you could.
The book of Proverbs, chapter 17, verse 27. He that hath knowledge spareth his words, and a man of understanding is of an excellent spirit. Verse 28.
No, did I say both? Yeah, read 28, Salakia.
Verse 28. Even a fool, when he holdeth his peace, is counted wise.
Right. You don't. I remember. I used to watch cartoons a lot when I was younger. And the version of cartoon I used to watch was an anime, and it was called Dragon Ball Z. And I think it was one of the characters on there said something to the effect of, every time you talk, you prove how stupid you are. Like, nobody knows how stupid you are until you begin to speak like a fool. When you begin to speak against your brothers, you're a fool. You're stupid. You're unlearned. You're not knowledgeable. You don't go in front of the whole world and embarrassing your brothers and sisters and get online and think that this is some type of reality show. Don't be a hypocrite. Don't want people to talk about you a certain way, but you talk about others in a disgusting manner. All right. I'm gonna read Exodus 11 and 7, because you want to read Exodus 11 and 7.
You got it.
I got it right now.
All
right. No sweat. Let me read it. This is the book of Exodus, chapter 11 and verse 7. All right. Matter of fact, I'll start at verse 6. The book of Exodus, chapter 11 and verse 6. And there shall be a great cry throughout all the land of Egypt, such as there was none like it, nor shall be it any more. All right. This is something that happened because of what was happening to us. These hypocrites that commit all these crimes and judge us so harshly have us eating maggots, putting us in detention centers, arresting brothers and planting drugs, putting cocaine and narcotics in our neighborhood. They are funding terrorism, funding cartels, using them to break down different countries and establish war. And when they come over here, they lock them up. These same people aren't going to be able to talk about us in such a manner for long. All right, because it's going to happen again what happened to the Egyptian. But against any of the children of Israel, us, blacks, Hispanics, and Native Americans, those who you said should be eating a good source of protein with maggots, the Lord is going to make you food for the maggots. The Lord is going to make you food for the worms. And there is going to be cries similar to the one that was in Egypt, but it's going to come from the Edomite. But against any of the children of Israel shall not a dog move his tongue against man or beast. The Lord is not going to let you talk about us or anything that the children of Israel own. All right. Now let me show y'all something, right? Let me show y'all something, because this isn't well-known history, but I wanted to share this with the class and show you how poorly black people are treated in our militaries, but how greatly those who are even, you know, traitors and break laws are treated differently. All right. Let me go ahead and get this for y'all real quick. It's a sister that went ahead and put up a post. Let me go ahead and share that with y'all real quick. Bear with me. And it's about brothers. And at this moment, we should realize that we should no longer give ourselves to the militaries of this world. The oppressor is so great. The oppressor is so brave. I see them in movies doing amazing things. Don't you think? Don't they do such amazing things? Don't they go in with a wet team or a Navy SEAL 6 team, and don't they just tear everything up? They're hitting targets from over 600 yards. American sniper, this, that, and the fourth. It is their time to show that they are heroes, and we should step back and we should heal our neighborhoods, because we don't have any representation in the United States military like we should. They said we weren't good enough, and then when we proved it, the hypocrites took all the accolades down. All right, but let me see if I can get this for y'all real quick. All right, bear with me. All right, yeah, this is exactly what I want. Let me see. And it's a video where a sister explains how a brother actually created the modern day marching cadence and how people do the sound off. I've never heard this before until today. And the reason why I knew it is because a brother in a school from Philly, Malakia, went ahead and shared it. So shout out to Malakia. All right, let me go ahead and play this real quick.
I heard the military do this while they march.
Hey, right on down the line. Hey, right on down the line. Come on over. Come on over.
That's called sounding off. And the military has been doing it for decades to keep their units together when they march. But what if I told you that a black soldier made the whole thing up on the spot in 1944?
In 1944, a black soldier is the first one to implement sounding off, and they never gave black people credit for it. This is a testament to hypocrisy. I never heard about this, brother, but at West Point, there is a person who committed treason against the United States who still has a plaque. But this brother, I didn't hear about him. It took ones from our people to show us who we were, because the hypocrite is not going to show you how great we are.
So stay with me, because the story of how this spread across all military culture will blow your mind. You see, back then, the Army was still segregated. So that means that Black soldiers marched with Black units under white commanding officers in a country that called them citizens but treated them like they were something less. And one of those soldiers was a sharecropper's son from Sandersville, Georgia. His name was Willie Lee Duckworth. But that winter, he and his fellow soldiers were coming back from a long march through rough, swampy ground outside New York. And these men had been marching for hours. I think it's safe to say that no one was talking. But then, out of that silence, Duckworth started calling out a rhythm. Sound off. 1, 2. And the men answered back. But here's the part that changes everything. The whole crew picked their heads up. A little pep came back.
Are y'all hearing this? This brother literally made what today is known as the cadences and the sound off for the military while he was, I believe, in the Army, she said. He gets no credit. But Confederate General Robert E. Lee, his portrait or his plaque was reinstated in the military, and he committed treason against this country. Are we not seeing the hypocrisy? And we're going to get to Colin Kaepernick about patriotism and this, that, and the fourth. But I just needed to play this. I had to play it.
In their step, and 200 tired men started marching like they had something to prove. Now,
he put the spirit back in them soldiers with that. Didn't no oppressor did that. That's why the Most High said we are the salt of the earth, and we shouldn't waste our flavor and the savoring of our salt on any of what they have, because Black people are not being honored. They're not being honored.
You need to understand something. The post commander has spent years trying to crack that exact problem. How do you keep men sharp on a long march when their bodies are shutting down? He had resources, he had rank, and he had time, but he didn't have the sauce that my man Duckworth had. You see, Colonel heard the troops before he could see them. So when they got back to the base, he pulled Duckworth into the office. And this is where the story gets complicated.
Right now, Donald Trump is removing historically Black achievements in the military from displays. That's what his administration is doing. But these hypocrites would tell us that we need to stand for the national anthem. They would tell us that we need to put our hands over our hearts. They would tell us that we should not kneel. But all the while, every single time we sing a national anthem, every single time that we lift our spirits to help these people, we're kneeling to them. But they had a problem when Colin Kaepernick kneeled against police brutality. The hypocrites couldn't stand it. That's why I like what General Muhammad said. As a matter of fact, I love it. If more crimes happened, if more white people went to prison, then maybe they could feel what we feel. Maybe they could know a little compassion, but they don't. But their achievements, their, plaques, this, that, and the fourth, they understand what that's like to be removed, but they don't understand it for us. Let me keep playing it.
Because the colonel wanted to know the sauce. So he asked Duckworth, where did you get the sauce? Duckworth looked up and said, I just made it up. I'm really like that for real. Colonel was stunned. And he told Duckworth, okay, you're dismissed. I'm telling you, as soon as that door closed, he pulled out the books and started adding Duckworth's chant into the official Army manual. But the chant was so good, it started to spread everywhere.
A Black man's invention went into the official Army record and manual. I want y'all to remember that, because I had to look it up. I heard this sister say it, and I had to look it up to make sure everything was on point, because I always need more than one source. There's a lot of videos. Y'all go look it up and y'all read it. It's great.
Where? Next thing you know, the Air Force had it, then the Marines, then the Navy. But then
it spread through the branches of the military. And then
And it left the military completely. Hollywood put it in a war movie called Battleground in 1949. Then a band leader named Bon Monroe recorded it as a song in 1951 and made a hit. That thing sold like hotcakes. And yes, he credits Duckworth as the man who created it. So one chant a private made up turned into a military staple, then a movie, and then a hit record. Foundational Black Americans didn't just survive this country. We set the rhythm it marches to. Ain't no use in feeling blue. Share this post with someone new.
All right, shout out to that sister. Now, I don't necessarily, or I don't at all agree with the foundational Black, this, that, and the fourth, because I believe in the 12 tribes and I know who the Lord's children are. But I definitely appreciate what that sister did, and I can definitely get down with that. All right. The reason why they don't understand our plight is because they're poisonous and they're like a snake. They're like a serpent. Young man, give me Psalms 58 and verse 4. Go ahead, set that. Yeah, set that to the side for me real quick. The water. 58 and verse 4. If you could, Baba Kasha. The water. All right. And bear with me for one moment. I think there is something that I had. Say that again.
I got it.
All right, let's hear it.
The book of Psalms, Psalm 58, verse 4. Their poison is like the poison of a serpent.
Right.
They are like the death adder that stoppeth her ear.
Right. They don't hear your complaints. They don't hear it. You can't reason with them. You can't convince them. And read it one more time from the top. Salaki, I had you on mute.
The book of Psalms, Psalm 58, verse 4. Their poison is like the poison of a serpent. They are like the deaf adder that stoppeth the ear.
They can't, you can't reason with an animal that wants to poison and bite you. You can't reason with it. You can't reason with an animal that doesn't want to hear you. That is in the nature. That is in the nature. All right. Now let me read something for y'all real quick. Right. We talked about the different things that happen when countries are destabilized. Here, have a seat. We talked about different things when third world countries go through a lot of different things. It's too wild. All right. But let me read something for you. I asked if there was some hypocrisy within the news and the media when Ukraine went to war with Russia. And my question was pretty much formulated like this. When the Ukraine and Russia war started, the media said this only happens to third world countries. So they are okay with it happening to quote unquote third world countries. They couldn't believe it was happening to the Ukraine. All right. The AI overview said this. You are completely right. When the Russia-Ukraine war escalated in 2022, several Western media outlets and commentators faced severe backlash for framing the conflict as shocking because it was happening in a civilized, quotation marks, and European, quotation marks, country, contrasting it with wars in places like the Middle East or Africa. These broadcasts sparked intense outrage and viral discussion across platforms like TikTok, with critics calling out the implicit racism and the assumption that catastrophic violence and displacement only belong to the global South. These people don't mind it when it happens to other people, but when it happens to them, now it's an issue. Now it's a problem. It is something that I will never, ever understand, how Black people, Hispanic people that are traitors of our people will see this and not just snap out of it. I will never understand that. I just won't understand that. All right. Because there are Uncle Toms, there's Uncle Tomases, and there's Uncle Tomahawks in every single one of our people. And we need to make sure that we root them out and correct it, not with violence, but with speaking the truth and using the knowledge of the Most High. All right. Let me get back to it. Bear with me for one moment. All right, we back on it. All right, there's another thing I want to play. Give me 1 second. Let me see. All right. Let me go ahead and share this too. And because of this hypocrisy, this should be one of the many reasons why we no longer feel they're marching. This is the reason why we should no longer go into their enlistment offices. We got to build up the army of the Lord.
Shot in the chest at close range. He said, and I'm quoting exactly, "I could see bubbles coming out of my chest." He pulled himself behind a palm tree. He patched himself up. He threw his last grenade at an enemy soldier a few feet away. Then he was shot in the right arm, dropped his weapon. He called the Air Force for close air support. They couldn't target close enough. He reached Navy Seabees nearby. They dropped smaller explosives. In the chaos, he recovered his weapon and kept firing. Then he was shot a third time in the finger. He fired every magazine he had left, and he walked back to friendly lines. 3 gunshot wounds in one engagement. He kept fighting through all of them. That man was Staff Sergeant Melvin Morris, United States Army Special Forces.
Has anybody ever heard about this man? We didn't hear about the brother that they called Salaki. I believe it was Duckley Salaki. I'm gonna go back and look it up. But we didn't hear about this brother either. This is something that is so hypocritical that the news and the media just portray black people in a subservient slave manner or as a small-minded criminal, but they never, ever show how we enriched this country, especially the military. They never show it.
Medal of Honor recipient, Vietnam, 1969. If you've never heard of him before today, now you have. Subscribe for more Forgotten Valor every Wednesday.
All right. So let me get down to something. All right. Because we got a little time left. Bear with me. Let me see. What time is it? All right. Yeah, we got a little time left. This is what I want to read. Young man, if you could, let me get Matthew 18 and 21. We can't be like the hypocrite. And I'm going to play something. I'm going to play one more thing. Let me see. Should I play this? There's one more thing I want to play. Salakia. All right.
Slacky, I got it.
It's 4 minutes. I think I'm gonna play it.
I got it. If you want me to read this.
No,
first.
just hold your peace for 1 second.
Okay.
Baba Kashat, the water. I appreciate you. Let me see. I'm gonna play this real quick. I might have to fast forward through it though. All right. Let me play this for y'all real quick. Let me show you all the hypocrisy. And then I'm going to read why we can't be like the other nations, why we should never be hypocrites. All right.
Cold War with Russia, and anti-communist sentiment was strong. During his presidential campaign, Reagan promised to assist anti-communist insurgencies around the world. For a brief time under Reagan, the CIA trained and assisted groups fighting communist leaders abroad. Reagan was particularly interested in a group called the Contras and their battle in Nicaragua. The Contras were a group battling the Cuban-backed Sandinistas, a communist group who had seized power in 1979. Reagan called the Contras the moral equivalent of our founding fathers. But much of the Contras funding came from the cocaine trade. Because of this, Congress passed the Bolin Amendment, specifically aimed at keeping American money.
They decided to work with people that were being funded with drugs. But yet, I believe Ronald Reagan was saying no to drugs around the time. Let's see. Say no to drugs, Ronald Reagan. President Ronald Reagan and First Lady Nancy Reagan championed the famous anti-drug slogan, "Just Say No," as a central pillar of the 1980s war on drugs. But yet they were using drugs to fund a war. Like this is the type of stuff, and we on a
Good track.
we on a class right now on a UPK channel, so I'm not going to just go full out just mad and livid. But this is the type of oppression that boils my blood. People were sent to jail after they pumped drugs into our neighborhood, and they said, "Just say no." But then the people that they wanted to use to help fight war, militia groups and terrorists that they wanted to help fight, they said that they had the same moral compass as the founding fathers. Did I get that quote right? Let me go back one more time. Salakia.
Trade. Because of this, Congress passed the Founding Fathers. Reagan called the Contras the moral equivalent of our founding fathers.
What the hell? We can't be like this oppressor. We can't be like the Death Adder. We can't be like the serpent. This is how they rule, through lies, deception, through hypocrisy. This is ridiculous. Let me continue.
But much of the Contras funding came from the cocaine trade. Because of this, Congress passed the Bolin Amendment, specifically aimed at keeping American money from funding the group. That happened in 1982, shortly after Reagan took office. The amendment restricted the CIA and Department of Defense from using funds to provide military assistance to groups that were trying to overthrow Nicaragua's government, groups like the Contras. This didn't stop Reagan. The president told his national security advisor, Robert McFarlane, to help the Contras anyway, regardless of the cost. McFarlane found opportunity in Iran.
They say uphold the law. They say don't break the law. They say a war on crime. They say a war on drugs, and then they get their hands dirty while doing all the things that they told us not to do. And then they look at us as they have a moral high ground, which is a facade, which is an illusion. And Blacks, Hispanics, and Native Americans, us, we fall for it. We go, we do need to do this. We do need to be like them. We do need their acceptance because they see that we're bad and we can't be civil without them. Their civility comes from crime. Their civility and their rulership comes from hypocrisy. It comes from just purely the work of Satan.
In 1985, an Iranian-backed terrorist group held 7 American hostages in Lebanon. Reagan insisted his advisors find a way to bring the hostages home, saying, "I want you to do whatever you have to do to help these people keep body and soul together." So with permission from Reagan, McFarlane made a deal. The U.S. would give Iran weapons, and Iran would broker the release of the hostages. This happened even though Reagan publicly insisted he would not negotiate with terrorists, and despite the fact that there was a trade embargo with Iran. But that was just the tip of the iceberg. The deal with Iran didn't just secretly secure the release of the hostages in exchange for weapons. There was money involved. While $30 million had been allocated for the weapons, the CIA funneled a portion of that money to the Contras in Nicaragua.
This is stuff that they're not supposed to be doing. They're dealing in with drugs and money. This is stuff they're not supposed to be doing. But there's just something I just want to get to real quick. Let me see if I can get to it. Let me go to the recap.
The revelations were explosive. Reagan denied the allegations that he had negotiated with terrorists. But Lieutenant Colonel Oliver North came forward and acknowledged that he diverted funds to the Contras. North also said Reagan knew about it. North also said Reagan knew about it. North's testimony. Oliver North came forward. The revelations were explosive. Reagan denied the allegations that he had negotiated with terrorists, but Lieutenant Colonel Oliver North came forward and acknowledged that he diverted funds to the Contra.
Ronald Reagan didn't spend a day in jail. Oliver North also had committed crimes. Yeah, he came forward, but the hell with that. You shouldn't have done it in the first place. They're not letting no black man get away with any of this. But I just wanted to show Oliver North, right?
North also said Reagan knew about it. North's testimony would inspire the press and Congress to launch investigations against Reagan for the rest of his presidency.
Hold on, let me...
Texas Senator John Tower led the investigation into the scandal. The Tower Commission determined it was Reagan's lack of oversight that allowed Iran-Contra to happen, but did not implicate Reagan directly. It wasn't until another congressional investigation in 1987 that Reagan finally testified. On May 5th, 1987, joint hearings were televised investigating the covert arms deal with Iran and the assistance to Nicaragua. The hearings would go on.
Now, I'll end it there because I got to get to these scriptures. But this is Oliver North, who broke the law, who knew what he was doing wrong. But from the early 2000s to about 2016, he was invited to be a commentator on Fox News and celebrated. But when Colin Kaepernick kneeled, these people literally dealt with not only funding drug lords, but terrorism. But you have but you draw the line at kneeling at a football game. We can't be like the oppressor, man, at all. Let's read it, Ace, because we about to shut it down. Let's get it. We going to Matthew 18 and 21.
Wait, Slacky, I thought you said 8.
No, verse 18 and 21.
The book of Matthew, verse 8, Slacky, chapter 18, verse 21. Then came Peter to him and said, Lord, how oft shall my brother sin against me?
Right.
And I forgive him till 7 times. Verse 22. Jesus saying to him, I say not unto thee until 7 times, until 70 times 7. Verse 23. Therefore is the kingdom of heaven likened unto a certain king, which would take account of his servants. Verse 24. And when he had begun to reckon, one was brought unto him, which owed him 10,000 talents.
So this brother owed money. He owed 10,000 talents. He owed 10,000 talents. Continue.
Con. Do you want me to read it from the top or
No. Read from where you at.
All right, con. Verse 25. But forasmuch as he had not to pay, his Lord commanded him to be sold, and his wife and children, and all that he had in payment to be made. Verse 26. The servant therefore fell down and worshipped him, saying, Lord, have patience with me.
He owed money, and that king was about to sell him and his family, right?
Con.
But he asked for mercy. Read.
Con. And I will pay thee all. Verse 27. Then the Lord of that servant was moved with compassion and loosened him.
He showed mercy on him. And then he took him out of whatever restraints that he had on him. Read.
And forgave him the debt.
Right.
Verse 28. But the same servant went out and found one of his fellow servants, which had owed him 100 pence.
Which is way less than 10,000 talents. Read.
And he laid hands on him and took him by the throat, saying, pay me that thou owest.
He choked him. A lot of black people, Salaki, a lot of us we get real serious when it comes to that money. Somebody owes you money, man, they might end up in a vat of acid. But read.
Verse 29. And his fellow servant fell down at his feet and besought him, saying, have patience with me, and I will pay thee all.
Man, please have mercy on me. Didn't the same servant number one, went to the king, the master, and said, please have mercy on me. I'll pay you back. Just have patience. Read.
Verse 30. And he would not, but went and cast him into prison. He said
no, and he put that brother in prison after he had been given mercy. He could understand his own plight, and he could ask for mercy, but his hypocritical behind did the opposite to somebody that was done to him. That's hypocritical. You want mercy, but you won't give it. You expect mercy, but you won't give it. Let's go.
It's like, I'm going to read from the top because it won't make sense if I continue.
Nah, go ahead. No sweat.
Come on. Verse 30. And he would not, but went and cast him into prison till he should pay the debt. Verse 31. So when his fellow servants saw what was done, they were very sorry and came and told unto their Lord all that was done.
Mm-hmm.
So he snitched on him, correct?
No. They went to the king and told him what that servant had done.
They snitched on him.
That's not snitching. Go
not
ahead.
Not snitching, but they told
on him. Go ahead. I was joking when I said Oliver North snitch. Go ahead. Man.
Verse 32.
Children. Go ahead.
Verse 32. Then his Lord, after that he had called him, said unto him, O thou wickedest servant, I forgave thee all that debt because thou, sorry, what's that word say? Desirous to me.
Mm-hmm.
Verse 33. Shouldest not thou also have compassion on thy fellow servant?
Y'all want organic food in prison, but you expect our brothers to eat maggots? You want to be free when you commit a crime and march on Washington in the Capitol building. But after you done paid terrorist groups in many different countries and many different militias, and they destabilize the country, and people come over here to escape your destruction, you lock them up. You don't want that for you, but you're so comfortable and gracious and grateful to have it for somebody else. Read.
Come on. Even as I had pity on thee. Verse 34. And the Lord was wroth and delivered him to the tormentors till he should pay all that was due unto him.
Right.
Verse 35. So likewise shall my heavenly Father do also unto you, if ye from your hearts forgive not every one of his brother their trespasses.
That was it right there. I want y'all to remember, don't be like these hypocrites online that are so comfortable doing to us what they don't want done to them, that are so comfortable telling us not to break the law, but yet they literally create countries and create violence and create wars from their hypocrisy and the crimes that they commit. With that being said, I'm going to go ahead and end the class there. The water for y'all tuning in. Shout out to Kanai. Shout out to Tiana Robinson. I'll be with y'all next week. We got classes next week. Also, remember, we do have the cookout coming up soon. Get with your camp leaders. See how, if you're an ISUPK, see how you can contribute. With that being said, I'm going to go ahead and play this video. And we are out.
African American Heritage Festival. We're going to see what's all to this. If this really about the heritage of the African American or something else. You know what I'm saying? We're going to see what's to this. It's supposed to be about African American heritage, right? But already they creeping in everybody else and say, no room in our hearts for prejudice. So that means all are welcome here because we not prejudiced. And then look at this right here. It went from African American heritage to Race Unity Day. Something to that, man. We gonna ask some of these questions out here and how people feel about it's supposed to be about African American heritage and why we can't just make it about us. Why we always gotta group or incorporate other races. Why this gotta be a moniker? If this is about African Americans, why are we even talking about prejudice? Just saying. God damn.